Okay, so the last thing we need to do is add our social icons here in the lower right-hand corner. So let's copy an example of this so we can use it in the browser as a comparison. I'm going to select the rectangular marquee and copy this. Again, this is in the flattened version of our site. Create a new image. We'll save this for the web. We'll call it social icons. And again, it's inside the design screenshot section. And if you don't have Photoshop and you haven't had Photoshop for the previous design elements as well, you can find these images if you go to the resource pack and you expand the 23rd step and you go into the design screenshot section, and it'll be right in here, along with the other design snippets we've been using. Okay, so now that we have our icons, let's update our design snippet inside of our index.html file. We'll save this and refresh. And now we're going to put this in the footer, but what should our HTML structure be for this? Well, these ultimately are going to be links to external sites, to Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. And because these are all links and they're grouped together, to me, that kind of signifies navigation of some kind. It's not navigation of our site, but it's navigation of some other resources that are useful to people who want to learn more about this site or this company. So I think using a nav element makes sense for this. So let's go ahead and create one, and let's give it a class. We'll prefix it with the name of the component, site footer, and let's call this social nav. We'll add the ending tag here, and let's create our links. So we'll add a bogus href, and now in this case, some text would be handy because it just doesn't seem very useful to be using a character code in here. So using font icons like the symbol set icons can help for this, because again, the way that that works is it converts real text into icons. So we could simply put Facebook in here. Now, there are a couple of things that we can do in order to add semantics to this link anyway. The first idea is to put the text inside of here, but to actually hide it from display. And the second option is to use a title attribute to describe what this element is for. So we'll demonstrate how to use both approaches here, but first let's add a class so we can style this. We'll call it site footer Facebook link. All right, and now let's see if we can find an icon in Font Awesome that will work for this. So we'll do a search for Facebook, and here are our options. So we have the simple F, and then we have a square and rounded corner version. So this is a place where the Font Awesome stacked icons component would be helpful. Again, what that would allow us to do is have a built-in style we can use to draw a circle around an icon. But we've done this before, so it won't be too hard to do it ourselves. So let's go back to our CSS, and I'll scroll down and create a new selector. Again, the ampersand is going to point to the name of the component. We'll do dash Facebook link. Now, we could nest this if we go back to our HTML inside of site footer social nav, but this class here is descriptive enough that we don't need to also explicitly state that this is inside of the social nav navigation element. So we'll just use that selector directly, and we'll take the approach that we did when we were doing these icons here. First, let's set up a background color, and we'll use white. Again, we'll use our variable just in case we want to change white across the board on our entire site. The color of the text is going to match the background here. So even though it would be kind of nice if we could have it be transparent, so we didn't have to deal with changing this color if the background color of the footer changed, in this case, we're kind of stuck having to set the color. So we'll set the color, and I believe this is dark gray. Let's add some rounded corners with border radius. Set it to 3 EMs for now. And let's look at the amount of padding we have at the top and do a quick measurement here between the edge of the circle and the top of the text. It's going to be about 6 pixels. So we'll do padding, and we'll use our px2 rem to make this relative, 6. And then our solution with the other circle icon was to leave the right and left paddings alone to actually set it to 0 and then set a fixed width for this element. So we'll take that approach here. So we'll do 0, and then we'll set the padding for the bottom. Again, we're going around clockwise to set the padding for the element, and then 0 again. Now, if we were going to take a stab at the font size, let's do a quick measurement here. So it looks like it might be 16 pixels, maybe a little bigger, maybe 18. So let's set the font size over here. We'll choose 18. So we'll do font size, and then I'm going to do the px2 rem to make this relative, and we'll pass it 18. And then again, the last part is setting a fixed width. And to do that, we want to match the height. Now the height is going to be the height of the font plus the top padding and the bottom padding. So 18 plus 16 plus 16. And so the width will be the same. I'm sure you can calculate this in your head, but I'm going to use a calculator. So we'll do 18 plus 6 plus 6. So that's going to be 30. And now we'll make this relative. So we'll do px to rem and we'll pass it 30. Okay, let's save this and refresh in the browser. And now we're not going to see anything. That's because in our index.html, we haven't put any content in here. If we just threw in an F and saved this and refreshed, we would see it, but it would just be big enough to fit the F in. So what's going on? Well, by default, anchor tags are set to be inline in terms of display. In order for width to work, we need it to be a block or an inline block. So let's go ahead and set this to inline block. So we'll do display, inline block. We'll save it and refresh. Okay, so we have a circle, but the text is to the far left. Let's align that. Text align, center. We'll save that and refresh. Okay, there we go. But we don't want this F. What we want is the Facebook icon. So let's remove the F from our content. We'll save that. We'll go back to our footer. And we're going to do the same thing that we did with the phone number, which is set the font family to Font Awesome and set the content here. So again, the way that we do this is by creating a new selector. We'll use the ampersand to copy this selector here. We'll use the colon to indicate a pseudo selector. And then within here, we're going to set the font family to Font Awesome. And we'll set the content to backslash. And then we'll go to the cheat sheet. And these two lefts are identical. You can see they have the same codes, just different classes. And we'll copy the part past the X here for the Unicode character. We'll do the ending quote. We'll save this, jump back to our example and refresh. Hey, so we're looking close. Now it looks like we're getting an underline. So let's fix that by setting the text decoration to none. We'll refresh. Okay, so this looks close. It looks a little too big, and the F isn't aligned vertically. So let's fix that.